Welcome to the educational video of the Traffic Control Persons Education Program. Once you have completed this program, you should be able to perform these outcome objectives as the traffic control person. To protect construction crews and the motoring public by regulating traffic flow. To stop traffic whenever required by the progress of work. Otherwise, to keep traffic moving at reduced speeds to avoid tie-ups and delays. To allow construction to proceed safely and efficiently, and lastly, to ensure that public traffic has priority over construction equipment. To meet these outcome objectives, this TCP educational video will be divided into specific topics to guide the TCP during their duties. These topics include qualifications, standards and regulations, equipment, preparation, and doing the job. The first education topic we will cover in this video is qualification. In addition to TCP training, traffic control persons should also be in good health with good vision and hearing, have mature judgment and a pleasant manner, have a good eye for speed and distance to gauge oncoming traffic, an ability to give motorists simple directions, explain hazards, and answer questions, and a liking, understanding, and respect for the responsibilities of the TCP job. As a TCP, it is important that you know what work standards and regulations cover your work. In Ontario, TCPs are covered in the Ontario Traffic Manual, Book 7, Temporary Conditions. This can be an important resource for further information regarding TCPs. It is the worker's responsibility to ensure all equipment is worn properly, at all times, and in good condition. For TCPs, there are two types of equipment that is required. These are personal protective equipment, aka PPE, and equipment for doing the job. The PPE requirements for traffic control persons include a hard hat meeting CSA standard Z94.1 Class E Type 1 or 2, CSA certified safety glasses, safety boots, CSA certified grade 1, and a garment or vest covering the upper body, with a tag that proves compliance with CSA standard Z96 high visibility safety apparel for Class 2 garments. Should TCPs be required to work after dark, Section 69.1 subsection 4 requires that retroreflective tape encircled each arm or an equivalent side visibility enhancing strips be used. Although that is all the mandatory PPE for TCPs, it is very important for TCPs to dress right for the job, meaning that in addition to the required PPE, TCPs should, on hot days, use of sunscreen and/or insect repellent may be necessary. For cold days, wear layered, warm clothing, gloves, and hard hats with winter liners. And finally, on wet days, high visibility rainwear shall be worn with all other required PPE. The equipment required for traffic control are as follows. The slow/stop sign will be the tool TCPs will use to direct traffic. It must be an octagon 450 millimeters wide and mounted on the 1.2 meter long pole. The sign must have high-intensity retroreflective red with stop printed on it. On the other side, high-intensity retroreflective black diamond-shaped border with slow printed in black letters. When two TCPs are not in sight of each other, TCPs will need two-way radios in order to communicate with other TCPs on the other end of the job site. The other equipment TCPs will need for work is the traffic control person ahead sign, which will warn traffic of active TCPs ahead of them. Prior to starting work, the TCP must take the necessary steps to prepare for their job to protect themselves and others around the job site. To properly prepare for their duties, each TCP shall have a clear understanding of the following: the type of construction they are involved in, the type of equipment being used for construction, how the equipment will be operating, such as work area or direction of travel, etc., how to direct construction and public traffic. But remember that public traffic has your priority over construction traffic. How they will protect workers, setting up the traffic control system, any specific conditions in the contract which affect road use, such as forbidden work during rush hour, and how the traffic will flow through the job site to protect workers and the public.
Now that we have all the PPE required for work and have taken the necessary preparation steps, the TCP can now begin their work. There are 6 different aspects about performing the duties of the TCP that we will cover. These duties are
1. Daily checks. 2. Where to stand. 3. Location or position. 4. How to signal. 5. Communications. And 6. Problems. To begin working, the TCP should perform the following checks. First, the stop slow sign is clean, undamaged, and meeting sizing requirements. Second, the TCP ahead sign has been properly set up in accordance with Book 7 requirements. Third, the TCP ahead sign remains in proper distance from the traffic control person while construction moves. Finally, make sure that meal, coffee, and toilet breaks are arranged with the supervisor. In order to do your job properly and remain in a safe area, it is important that TCPs understand where to stand on the job site. This table from the Ontario Traffic Manual, Book 7, is your guide on where to stand in proximity to construction cones depending on the road conditions, such as traffic volume and speed limits.
As shown in the table, roads with normal speed limits of 60 km per hour or lower and low traffic volume require TCPs to stand between 5 and 10 meters from the first cone of transition taper. Roads with the same speeds but with higher traffic volumes require TCPs to stand between 10 to 15 meters from the first cone of transition taper.
On roads with speed limits between 70 and 90 kilometers per hour require more distance due to the higher speed of traffic. Therefore, 70 to 90 kilometers per hour roads with low traffic volume require 15 to 25 meters, and high traffic volume conditions require 20 to 30 meters standing distance between the first cone of transition taper and the TCP. While on duty, remember these points. Traffic must have room to react to your directions to stop. Stand where you can see and be seen by approaching traffic for at least 150 meters. Be aware and avoid the danger of being backed over or hit by a construction worker. Once you have properly chosen your standing distance from your work site, make sure to stand outside the running portion of the roadway and always face oncoming traffic. Be alert at all times and aware of construction traffic. Make sure to stand alone and don't allow a group to gather around you. Remain standing at all times, as sitting limits the ability for motorists to see you. Once you are assigned your position from your supervisor, look over the area for methods of escape in order to avoid being injured by a vehicle heading your way. Some situations may require more than 2 TCPs to safely guide motorists through the work site. For example, on curves and hills where TCPs at each end of the construction site may not be able to see one another, then a third TCP is required in order to relay signals between the TCPs at either end of the work site. This way, motorists can be continuously guided by either slow or stop signals through the work site. How to signal. To signal stop, hold the sign vertically with the stop letters facing the lane of traffic you are controlling with your right hand. Lift your left hand up in the air at a 90-degree angle as shown in this image. When showing the stop sign, indicate where you want traffic to stop. Once the first few vehicles have stopped, move to a point on the road where the traffic can see you. Make sure you can stay in the lane of the roadway that you were controlling. Never approach the adjacent lane as traffic is approaching from the opposite direction. To signal slow, hold the sign vertically with the slow letters facing the lane of traffic you are controlling with your right hand. With your left hand, invite traffic to pass as shown in this image. Make sure to give motorists plenty of warning. The average stopping distance for a vehicle traveling 50 kilometers an hour is 45 meters, so take this into consideration when controlling traffic. When showing the slow sign, avoid bringing traffic to a complete halt. When motorists have slowed down, signal them to continue moving slowly. Before transitioning your control lane from stop to slow, make sure the opposing traffic has stopped and that the last opposing vehicle has passed your post. Then step back onto the shoulder of the road and turn your sign to slow. Always stay alert, watching the road, and keep hand signals clear. While performing traffic control duties, it is important that TCPs understand the following precautions regarding communication. First, don't be distracted by fellow workers or passing pedestrians. If conversation is needed, keep all conversations brief. If necessary to use two-way radios to communicate with other TCPs, ensure to establish clear voice signals for each situation. Be crisp and positive in your speech and always test radios before starting your shift. Avoid unnecessary conversation and avoid using two-way radios in high noise level areas. When two TCPs are working together, they should always be able to see each other in order to coordinate their stop and slow signs to control traffic. Station a third who can help both in view, like shown during the positioning of TCP section. Problems. While on the job, it is likely that the TCP will encounter problematic situations. Because of this, it is important that TCPs take the following steps.
Report motorists who are endangering the safety of the public or construction workers to the supervisor.
Keep a pad and a pencil to jot down violators' license numbers. Ask the supervisors for assistance from police for difficult or unusual traffic violations. Never restrain a motorist forcibly or take out anger on any vehicle. And lastly, always be alert to the needs of emergency vehicles such as ambulance, police, and fire vehicles as they have priority over other traffic. Now we have covered the qualifications, standards and regulations, equipment requirements, preparation steps, and job duties of a traffic control person. In conclusion, remember these summary points of this video. Always face traffic, plan an escape route, wear personal protective clothing, maintain proper communication with other TCPs, stay alert at all times, and finally, be courteous. Thank you for watching, and if any of this information was unclear, please watch this video again or contact your supervisor. Click Next to begin the TCP questionnaire.